So, hi, yeah, we're going to talk about tarot today and like tarot reading. So, how long have you been doing tarot, would you say?
I've been doing tarot personally, probably about 30 years. I've had various tarot decks and oracle decks, so about that length of time.
And how many decks have you got?
Oh, golly. At a rough count, and this is not just tarot, a variety of decks. Probably, I would say at the moment, 12.
12 decks.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Is there a normal like tarot person? I mean, you must have a love of tarot decks to have that many.
I think mine is very meager in compared to many people. You know, those who do professional tarot on YouTube, they have scores and scores of decks.
You're also doing professional you're also doing professional tarot on YouTube.
Hey, shall we start again? Do you think?
No, it's fine. This is good. This is good. You're also doing professional tarot on YouTube.
I will be. I think I'll be starting my own little YouTube channel. But yes, I've done a professional tarot diploma.
This is a YouTube channel.
Okay, great.
Yeah, this is happening in real time.
Okay, it is happening.
Yeah. So,
but yes, I'm starting to do it professionally to counsel people using images and symbols and colors, like using my favorite decks, the ones that I find appropriate at the time with each client.
Yeah, I've got 4. I think I have the traditional tarot deck, the Rider tarot deck. I have, because my thing was always a bit more occult than the like as I was younger, it was always more, I was more interested in like, oh, there's got to be the traditional Rider tarot deck. And then I got Aleister Crowley deck. Not Aleister Crowley, the lady who did the artwork for his deck, which is also quite a traditional deck. And I got an Enochian magic tarot deck. And then I got also Amazon. You know, there was that whole 2012 end of the world thing.
Yeah.
So you can kind of the Mayan calendar.
Yes.
So I got that one too, and that's a very nice little one. And I think I showed you at some point. It's got very little cards, but it has things like Dragua and Bee and things like this.
Okay. Yeah, I've got an animal oracle card deck. You know that one. It's lovely.
Yeah.
With all the animals.
Animals are good. Yeah, it depends what you're into, isn't it? It's like sometimes I want to get that kind of South American feel for different situations, and then those are very lovely. Is a very lovely deck, and I think we can do another video at some point with that one and to explore that one. But for today, I just got this. This is one that I got at Christmas, and again, it's going in a bit more of a popular direction, less occult. And this one, I got this one as a Christmas present. It's in German.
Oracle.
As the Oracle deck, I think it's quite a famous one, or it's a popular one now.
Oh yeah, Colette Baron Reed is very famous for tarot decks and oracle decks. That guy.
It's a bit of a hit at the moment, and it's all about, because shamanism is quite a big trend at the moment, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I thought we could do, because we're setting up, you know, numerous businesses and looking to be self-employed doing these things, and people can reach out for sessions with me or you, or Jonathan, who's also part of our team. So I thought we'd just do like a 1-card reading for everything that's going on at the moment about what we're doing. And And maybe you could, so what have you been doing in this regard recently? I know you've done also like a certification and training in tarot and stuff.
Yes, I've done an online diploma in tarot reading or tarot counseling, basically to familiarize with all the aspects of tarot, its history, origins, the different kinds of decks, details about the major minor arcana, the suits, the numbers, and so on. So that's useful for me as an overview and review.
Yeah, it gives you a kind of context. And did it really help? Like, because you've had a lot of experience, so has it really changed the way you would do things?
Well, unlike you, I didn't go into tarot in the occult sense. My first tarot deck, which I kept for many years, I was just drawn to the Mother Piece tarot, why it was because their cards were circular. I just like that circular shape, but they were tarot interpretations by two American women. And I stuck with that and learned from that. Subsequently, I've just bought decks that resonate with me with the images, and it's got to have a resonance. So with this professional diploma, it just is a way to say to the public, look, I know the basics of tarot.
Yeah.
And then I will use it as a tool, but
yeah, and I
not
think
necessarily tarot itself.
Our friend was saying also this is good, this is important for insurance purposes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, just to be transparent about that, because there's something that we advise people about is like associative economics and how to set up your own business and stuff like this, and to actually have insurance and to be able to say, yeah, I have experience, but I'm also certified and I've also been trained in an accredited program. All of this is important so that people could know that they're getting a quality product when they work with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I'm still, because this is how I always worked, is like you shuffle, and the shuffling is you're slowly crystallizing the question that's going to bring an answer through the card to the question that you're slowly crystallizing. And you might not even know what the question is, but to be as specific as possible gives a detailed reading. But again, to be transparent, what I'm looking to do is just get a card that we can chat about, just about what's going on for us at the moment, like you and me, in relation to wider things. Because you know, it's difficult going this, we talked about this the other day with associative economics. There's a lot of challenges that come with being independent and putting oneself forward as one's own business. What do you think about that?
Yes, it's certainly challenging, particularly for a personality like myself that finds it difficult to place a money value to my giving. You know, I am I just love to give, to share, to commune with people. But you know, once I think of a monetary value, as I told Jonathan yesterday when we had a chat, I come to a kind of a mental block. I really need to work through that one, because I'm afraid of the two extremes. If I set a value per hour, let's say, or per reading, it could exclude people on either end of the income scale. It could exclude those who can't afford that exact number. And it also excludes others who can actually afford a lot more and would like to give a lot more. So I'm trying to find a way to leave that kind of option.
Yeah, I mean, I have two answers to that. I like to, on some platforms, you can leave the value open, and then people are free to give you more than what is stated. So that's one side. And on the other side, I think it's also people who can't afford it. Whereas I know what you mean. It's like, I think that's very kind and very nice that you feel that way. But I think people can always find it. if they value it somehow and I think to take the challenge away from people, where they actually would have to find at least the minimum, because at the end of the day, if you're struggling and you need the money for your daily expenses and expenses of life, and people need to respect that. Everyone has their way of
Yeah.
making a living, and there are different ways of making a living. But I think sometimes we can get lost in those two parallels of
Yeah.
say, and we don't think these things through enough to their end. And the other thing is, some people they need a guidance. They expect a guidance from us to say, well, this is what I need to do the work that I do. It's not extortionate. I know there's people out there who charge extortionate fees, but for I see working out of associative economics, it's saying, what do I need, taking into account my life, so that I can do the work that I do, and that I can do this work with.
Yeah, my friend whom I'm staying with, I told her about this particular issue, and she gave me a great example. There's a place called New Boat House. I think I've even taken you there. But the people who started it and ran it successfully, they had this kind of way of associative economics where they were completely transparent. Anybody who wanted to use the building, use it for workshops, whatever, or accommodation, they were completely transparent. These are our basic costs. We cannot run this place without covering these basic costs. And then people would contribute according to something that they have to, it makes people proactive in thinking, okay, when I'm exchanging money with these people for a product or a service, I have to give it some thought first. The thing with doing this kind of work online is we will access people from all income brackets in a variety of countries, you see. So there are some countries where they earn very little, and the other countries they earn a huge amount.
Exactly.
So I mean, to be transparent about that is also, I think, very useful and helpful, because then it helps with my sense of ethics, actually.
Yeah. Well, I do that. I always go down, Switzerland probably has one of the highest costs of living of anywhere in the world. And so I'm aware that my fees for Switzerland are going to be considerably higher than they are for the rest of the world. So I always mark it down a notch for things for a global audience. And I think the other thing is to be open to the negotiation. Everyone's an individual, and you come into negotiation about what they can do, and and how one can come to an agreement on that. And I think that's part of, again, about being open and being kind of sovereign about what you have to explain your thinking process. That's the whole thing. If creating a new kind of economy with gifting is very much also a question of education, and you educate the people that you work with, that you're trying to help everyone to think about these issues so that one feels comfortable, because at the end of the day, rapport is built between you and the client through mutual
goodwill, isn't it?
Yeah, being comfortable with the exchange of money that's taking place for the work that you're doing. So it's both have got to be happy. And so for me, I have to say, look, these ideals have to be part of the process for me, because otherwise I won't be happy. I will be content with the work we're doing unless I feel that there's an exchange also of ideals. I think that's also a lovely thing about how we're looking to work, in a different way from how people normally work. And I think that's what's exciting, and that's the other associative economic side of this. And I know that Jonathan will be watching this, and I know that that's, you know, kind of one of his
Yeah.
passions. So I think that's also
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's time to break new ground about how, you know, money and flow is more healthy, because the way things work out in the systems of the world is really come to a point of gross unhealthiness.
indeed. So I've got this. This is how I'd normally do a spread. So this is we're just going to do taking one card. Okay, so this is a spread of one card, but I would spread them like this, and then you would choose one, because that's again the exchange between two people. And then you say, okay, which one? So you can guide my hand with your clairvoyant powers.
I can't actually see the deck so well. Lift it up a little bit. So which one shall I choose? It's quite tricky, huh? Okay, just pick that one. The one that your hand fingers are touching.
You say stop.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the card that we've been given. For as a kind of overview of everything that we've been discussing. Okay, so this is the card. It's a very lovely one. This is a very sparkly deck. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Which we like sparkles. We're, you know, magpie like. But this is the card.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, it's very pink as well. So hearts.
Can you read that?
Heart. So it's a heart, isn't it? Because it says Heartsheim. Am I right?
Herzheim.
Heartsheim. Oh, I love that. It's got a deity inside in the center.
Does it?
And it also even looks like a face, 2 eyes and a mouth. Yeah.
Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Daisy. Yes, it's got some butterflies on it.
Right.
And it says here Herzenheim, which is in German.
Yeah.
So yeah, wir können das auch in Deutsch machen. Aber ich, Herzensheim, like the home of the heart. Yeah. And then underneath it's got Mitgefühl, which, do you know what Mitgefühl is in English? Empathy.
No. Oh wow, it's perfect for us. Really perfect about exactly what we're doing.
Isn't that fascinating? Because like the whole
amazing.
And that's what's so lovely about doing tarot is you get the card that's really fitting for the things that you're going through at the moment. And I know that certainly I had a meeting with our group yesterday, our first class group, and it was I can tell you more about that later, but I think what came up there was also this feeling of feeding the joy and the pain of another.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's empathy.
That really came up yesterday, and I think that's part of, you know, you're reading tarot for people, but if you don't have that ability to empathize, you can't help bring the meaning of the card home to that person's soul and spirit. And I think that, so, you know, it's beautiful that the sense of the heart as one's home, and the sense of empathy. And
yeah, I mean, what strikes me on first looking at it is it's like bathing in pink, isn't it?
Yeah,
there are various shades of pink in it. It's very lovely.
This is
and
what
it
I
actually
also
instantly opens the heart chakra. There's, you know, activation of the heart area instantly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's lovely about the arts is that colors brought together with words can open the heart. And again, you know, the pink of the spirit self, from the anthroposophical perspective, I always look also at, as you know, I like numerology, and the 27 is I think in Chaldean numerology is the scepter.
Oh, yes.
The scepter, which brings in that whole other aspect to this whole thing. And I think you can also see aspects of that in the middle. Do you see like the middle? It's a quite Eastern
Yeah.
middle,
Yeah, yeah.
like a tower,
There's a column or a tower in the middle. Yeah.
tower like a city, it's like a Jerusalem.
So what's the actual interpretation? Do you think it's worth reading that?
Yeah, I'll read it. It's in German, so
Or summarize it?
I'll try and summarize it a bit, and just to give a, because again, this is a model of how we would work with someone. So we're looking, this is really how we do an hour. I mean, we'll probably do 40 minutes here, and we would have longer with a client, but this is how we would do.
What's interesting
Yeah.
is the way that I do readings for myself. I never pull more than 3 cards at a time. I know some other readers do a full Celtic cross or whatever, but I think in a 1-hour appointment, 3 cards is more than enough to go into the archetypes and topics and issues. Like even 1 card, we can spend.
Yeah, well, you see, I mean, we can go into 1 card. I mean, I've done at times big spreads, especially with the more occult cards. And therefore, I mean, of course, you can always offer that. And if people really want to go into that, you can do more like a biographical reading and say, okay, let's look at the past. Let's look at the question that you're asking. Let's look at the near future, the emotional state, look at the future that's coming. And that's all possible. But I like the way you work. Sometimes it gives a very direct simplicity with 1 card or 3 cards. And I've always found it's also how one has worked over the years. And I think what you show me is that you have a very nice pure channel, because it also who you work with and how you work is also something I believe that creates the powers that you work with. And I'm the same. I've always been tried to be very pure in the questions that I ask, and make sure that I only ask questions that are about quite serious topics. And I think that makes you into a very good source.
Well, it's a kind of inroad to the Parsifal question, isn't it? Because usually the time when I pick up a deck, when I resort to deck, is when I've had a foggy mind, and there's too many issues swimming around my mind, and I just want focus to get the Parsifal question. What is ailing me or thee? Yeah, what ails thee? And then the cards are will directly give you answers.
Yeah, what is your wound? Sorry to interrupt.
What is your wounds? Yeah, exactly. So many people, including myself, have ongoing questions about, well, what am I trying to resolve in my life? So the cards are a window to those kinds of things.
Well, let me give you this. So it says here, love in its purest form is empathy. It's giving that as a kind of introduction in the card. And then in German it says, wann immer du das Gefühl bekommst, nirgendwo richtig hinzugehören, ist es an der Zeit, in dein Herzensheim zurückzukehren, in dein wahres Zuhause. Yeah? And I'm saying that in German just to show off that I can speak German. So what this means is, maybe Felicity will be coming back, but just to finish this sentence, what this means is, if you always have the feeling never to really belong anywhere, maybe to feel homeless, which is a sense also on the occult path of not knowing where one's home is. And I always think of that song, wherever I lay my hat, that's my home. But there's a lot of stress that can come through that. And this is a sense that in those times of feeling perhaps one can't find one's way, that this is when you turn back to this sense of your true house and home in the heart. And this is where we have this very beautifully with this card. And it says here, etwas ruft dich an den stillen Ort zurück, an dem deine Seele wohnt, which is where your soul lives, to come back to this home. Lass kurz alles stehen und liegen, gerade bietet sich dir die Erfahrung von Liebe in ihrer reinsten Form, bedingungs- und grenzenlos. So to come back to love in its purest form, without condition and without borders. Und diese Liebe musst du dir nicht erarbeiten oder gegen etwas eintauschen. Lass dich einfach in dein Herz zurückfallen und komm dort 1-2 Atemzüge lang zur Ruhe. Es setzt die Bewertungen der eigenen und anderer Personen durch Mitgefühl. Ja, stell dir vor, so einfach wird alles durch Mitgefühl. Ja, stell dir vor, so einfach wird alles, sobald dein Herzensheim, dein Herzensheim sich zeigt. So it's this call to come back, whether you're in difficulties in life, whether you're facing a turning point, whether you're in a crisis, whether you're struggling in any way to find the way back to where you feel at peace, at home, to how you make connection again to this whole middle area. That is what's being outlined in this card. And I'd just like to say, closing, if you'd like to work with me or with Felicity, you can get in touch on the website below. You've got, then you can contact me over Facebook or the different channels that we've got, and you can work with me or Felicity, and we also always work together. So we've got like a whole team, me and Jonathan and Felicity, and this also supervises the work that we do with people. So also this, if you have any questions about associative economics, you can also put these questions to us. And look how wonderful that is. Of course, Felicity's found her way back to the Herzensheim. So here she is, hopefully back again. So you're back. Still on. Okay, hello.
Hi, sorry, what happened was, because I've got this broadband cable, the cable sort of, it,
So
there was a kink in it and I lost connection.
It was really quite lovely, because you went away and I thought, I'm just going to carry on.
Yeah.
And I carried on thinking about it in German, and I translated it into English, which was good, because you didn't need to be there for that bit. But What came up was really interesting. It was all about the sense, and I was pointing out this sense of homelessness in an occult sense. And
Yeah.
that's what came out up through the text. And it was talking about how do we find our way back to the home as in the whole middle area of the human being. And so I thought it was really nice because that's part of it. And it was talking about how one can be in difficult situations or crises in life.
Yeah.
And that chance, that's why one would reach out in many cases to someone like yourself or to me to find counsel, to find good counsel in a situation where one's looking again for that connection. I mean, that's just one of the reasons.
Because most of the people who know me know that finding home, they sort of see me as somebody who's able to find home wherever I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a rare quality or what, but it's just I guess I've been like
I
this.
think there's something very
life.
lovely. There's something very lovely about that, which is, you know, where I lay my hat is my home.
Yeah.
And I think that you have this great generosity of spirit, which means that you are open to traveling, to also to meet people and to be in the places where you need to be. Also, your
and
connection.
Stay in many people's homes.
Yeah, and to be open to the connection to the land. And I know that you're there in Glastonbury right now, and that's also very significant. You know, the fact that in life we're called not just to be heads, but to bring things into our will, into our lives. And I think it's a wonderful expression of that, and something very special about you yourself, and how your spiritual path looks like. And I think you have an awful lot to give people in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, because this seems to be in a way my natural way to be a kind of pilgrim or a peregrine, where I go into many different environments, many people's homes. And this is, you know, when people start to ask me for advice using tarot or other decks, they will see me in different environments because I am a digital nomad at the moment. And, you know, the word nomad, one of my really good friends, we used to joke about that word nomad.
Yeah.
Why is it nomad? Is it I mad or nomad? Yes, mad. She says, rather than call it nomad, let's call it yes, mad.
Well, you know, there's something very nice that came up in the group yesterday, in the organizational committee for the first class. And that was and I can tell you the context another time, but the name Step Fox came up. A step fox. And when I think of a step fox, you know, the steppes in Russia, that's that sense of that nomadic life. Yeah. And I think it's nice how that evokes all those things, the sense of community, which exists even, and perhaps more so when one is a nomad. And
what's interesting is that it's become more and more, you know, in the younger generation, so many people now choose this lifestyle and they form community wherever they go, because it's now, I mean, so many countries are now offering digital nomad visas. There are hubs, community hubs, where people get together and form community while they're working.
Yeah,
in cafes and so on.
This is also the last 2 years, isn't it? Like for me, I don't think I ever did one Zoom conference or Zoom call ever before January 2020, and with the pandemic and everything. So it opens up a whole new area of working with people, and you know, you have to adjust to that. And it brings up many questions about self-employment and working online. And so that's the other thing I just like to sort of finish up, like bring this all to wrap this all up, is that's the other aspect of what we're doing. So in terms of accompanying people along a process of learning to present themselves as their business, and to collaborate on economic initiatives where we can build community with helping each other out in our own initiatives.
Yeah, yeah. Exciting times. I mean, challenging times brings exciting times, right?
Happy. And that's why I'm pleased that we got.
Crisis equals opportunity.
It's very nice to have got that card today.
Isn't it lovely? Yeah. Perfect.
So,
excellent.
Thanks, Felicity. See you soon, yeah?
Okay, Richard. Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Ciao. Bye.